Hi, my name is Bill Stormont. I'm here with Dan Wilton, CEO of First Mining Gold. Welcome to Mining Hub, Dan.
Bill, thanks for having me.
It's good to see you today. Maybe we could start off with an overview, a synopsis of the investment case for First Mining Gold, your priorities, two main drivers, Springpole and Duparquet.
Yeah, for sure. So First Mining Gold is developing two of the largest undeveloped gold projects in Canada, and one of the next ones we believe to get environmental assessment approval. So our Springpole Gold Project in Ontario, 5 million ounce gold project, well advanced in the EA process, targeting that EA decision in Q2 of 2026. Which would make it really one of very few projects in Canada that you could put a shovel in the ground and get building before 2030. And our second project is Duparquet in Quebec, 3.5 million ounces of M&I, 2.5 million ounces of inferred, smack in the middle of the Abitibi Gold Belt, and really one of the highest grade open pit potential projects in Canada right now.
And the background for both these projects is promising right now. Obviously, gold has continued to romp higher. I noticed the company was just added to the OTCQX 50 best companies last year. You're up about 5 times in the last year in 2025. Your presentation on your website does a great job of looking at what gold's move means for First Mining in a leverage context. But could you maybe give us a sense of how investors should think of that relationship, your share price with gold, and how does maybe Springpole in particular, the outsized torque there when the gold price moves, how does that influence Springpole?
Yeah, all great questions and comments there. So in terms of leverage to gold price, it's one of the things that these large projects really give investors. So between Springpole and Duparquet, every $100 in the gold price is about 230 million US of after-tax net present value on those projects. Now, Springpole, we've just updated our pre-feasibility study. We put that out in November, published the document just before Christmas. It shows itself to be a large, low-cost, very robust project. All-in sustaining costs sub $1,000 an ounce. So you have enormous margins there, but a huge resource base. And that's really what gives you that leverage to the gold price from that perspective. So, when we talk to investors about it, yes, share price performed really well last year, but here's what you need to keep in mind. We're still trading at $35 an ounce, when many of our peers are trading at now $200 to $250 an ounce for advanced stage projects in tier 1 jurisdictions. And that's what you have here, 2 advanced stage projects in 2 of the best jurisdictions on the planet to build and develop gold projects. So, those projects would typically trade in the market at, call it somewhere between 0.5 and 0.7 times that fundamental value. And we're trading today at, 0.2 times. So a very clear re-rating potential with those catalysts, very near-term catalysts coming up around the environmental assessment decision at Springpole and ongoing advancement and actually exploration success at Duparquet.
And when you're talking to your institutional investors, prospective or existing, and they look at that discount, what do they attribute it to, and what's the sort of feedback you get on that? Again, you mentioned the catalyst of the environmental assessment. That's obviously a significant milestone when it comes through. Maybe you could just elaborate on why that is. But I'd be interested to know, to the extent that you can share, what kind of feedback you do get on that discount, because it is a glaring anomaly when you go through your deck on your website. It stands out.
Yeah, no, for sure. And it always has, right? Springpole, when the project was discovered in the early 2010s in its current form, the deposit sits in the bay of a lake. And so there was always this question as to whether or not you would be able to permit. I'd say there wasn't a question. The investing world said, you'll never be able to permit this project. And we always knew that, it was going to take a lot of work. There was a lot of risk in that in the early days before we acquired the project. Our predecessor, Gold Canyon, had to do a lot of work to start to understand, is this something that's doable? anyone has any questions about it now, we'd encourage them to go on our website. We've got a 15,000-page environmental assessment document that we filed at the end of 2024. We're in the final stages of that EA process. This is a project that we've spent millions of dollars collecting baseline data, millions of dollars in engineering, millions of dollars in capacity support for the Indigenous communities around the project to get to understand the game plan, what the risks are, and what the opportunities are with the project. So that's always been that big disconnect. And I think we're sitting today at maybe about 20% of our shareholders would be institutional. Large majority of our shareholders are longtime supporters of Keith Neumeyer, our founder and chairman, longtime supporters of First Majestic Silver, kind of our sister company. And they've been with us on this journey really all the way through. So that's where, I think the opportunity when we get that environmental assessment decision is that there's still most of the investing universe who is going to continue to look at this discount and say, in a hurry, I'm going to buy this because the share price is going to go up because they've significantly de-risked that project. And we can see that trajectory from that, call it $30, $35 an ounce where we are now to $200 to $250 an ounce where our peers are trading. So that discount's going to close, and it's going to close by larger investors finally having the confidence to be able to come in because we've hit the milestones that we said we were going to hit.
We get through that. We get through the environmental assessment process. We come back. Hopefully we speak before the year is out, but we come back here 12 months hence. What does success look like for First Mining then in your, ambitions? Like where do you see yourself a year from now? And what should investors be watching most closely? Obviously the EA approval, but over that time horizon.
So even leading up to the EA approval, it really is our goal to come to agreements with the Indigenous communities around the project. The communities have done a ton of work. It's been an enormous process that they've undergone, and in all cases we've supported financially for them to do a lot of the analysis. But it's our goal to get to agreements with the communities that they are supporting the project, get that positive environmental assessment decision targeting, in Q2 of this year. And then you move from there into more detailed engineering, feasibility study, and getting your detailed permits. And so that process is likely another 18 months after environmental assessment. But I think by the end of 2026, we'd like to be targeting a feasibility study that's showing, again, this is a project, it's going to have its EA approvals, largely permitted, at least the main sort of project approval in hand, and a development plan that's going to show the project moving forward kind of, into a construction decision late 2027, early 2028. Again, that puts it in very rarefied air. There's maybe only 2 other large gold projects in Canada that could achieve that same kind of time frame, getting shovels in the ground before 2030. So, yeah, and at that point, I think it becomes a really attractive project for the market to finance, for us to build the construction team, raise the capital to build it, or potentially to partner with another mining company and bring in a partner on the project to finance it and move it forward through that construction phase.
That's great. Thank you very so lots of news flow to look forward to over the next year at least. And maybe we could just finish up. You could tell viewers where they can get in touch with you when they want to reach out, learn more about First Mining.
Yeah, absolutely. So website's a great place to start, www.firstmininggold.com. Or if you want to reach out, our director of IR, Paul Morris, Paul at firstmininggold.com. Paul is excellent at following up and getting back with investors. So yeah, encourage you to reach out. There's lots of information there, but if you need anything more, please just get in direct contact with us.
Great, thank you. And as a reminder, First Mining Gold trades on the TSX under the symbol FF. Thanks very much for your time, Dan.